Imagine finding the house of your dreams and the place you always wanted to live for a budget that doesn't break the bank. Sound impossible? What if you could truck the house you want to the section of your choice and maybe save money along the way?
Oh, that's my lounge. Love it.
You got your ass on the seat, we're rolling.
It's a journey that can be fraught with anxiety.
What's that?
Pressure. There's only inches in it, the
Oh my gosh.
and stress.
Yeah, I got some very unhappy people up here.
Is all the trucking, trauma and tension really worth it? Here comes your roof. This time, a young couple's dream of working from home takes on biblical proportions.
It wasn't necessarily a church that we were looking for, but we wanted a historic building. It actually will be cut in half just underneath the roof line.
So no knife going down the middle. But will they be counting their blessings that they've made it this far?
Oh, look, you're touching the rock.
There is very little room to move. So tight. And we're talking 30 mils, 40 mils. Can you swim? So come along for the ride. This is Moving Houses. Queenstown is one of New Zealand's most beautiful and mountainous regions. And it's here that Brett and Hollis met and made their home.
I was bartending here in Queenstown, and Brett was the guitarist in the band.
They live on a large block of land on the outskirts of town with their son Lockie.
This area is just fantastic. You're 5 minutes from Arrowtown, you're 10 minutes from Queenstown, you're in the middle of the country, but you're still so close to everything. It's just, it's great.
Brett runs a town planning company. Hollis works for a winery, and they own bars in Christchurch. They want to create an office nearby for Brett and his staff so that they can spend more time working from home.
Oh, we've been through about 5 or 6 iterations of designs in terms of new builds and tried to go for something a little bit different, but quite fitting in with that kind of alpine feel, pitched roof. We just couldn't really find anything, could we? We never were 100% happy with where we're heading design-wise.
So they've decided to relocate a building that meets their brief to their 2-hectare riverside property. And it's clear they don't want just any office. Why a church? Was that something on your wish list?
No, it wasn't necessarily a church that we were looking for, but we wanted a historic building. A lot of rural communities are getting rid of their churches, so there are actually more churches available than there are other types of structures in the same architectural realm. We did look at some villas as well, but what we decided ultimately was that with the church, it has the bigger, longer space that can be broken up into individual offices.
And a church is sort of more aligned with the feel of what you were after?
Yeah, Brett and I really love the historic feel, something that's a little more kind of rough around the edges.
I can see some posters laid out here. Is this where it's going?
The main part of the church will be the offices here, with all of them facing outward towards Cornet Peak.
Wow. And yet, you know, close to your home, but far enough away to be separated, especially by this lovely little stream.
Yeah, we have a water separation as well as a big line of hedges.
It's just going to be incredible.
And then that flat bit there in the middle will be where the parking lot is. And then the church will be there, and you'll enter just through that side there.
There can't be too many offices in the world that look out to a ski field like that.
Yeah. It's not going to do very well for work ethic during winter.
I just can't help but feel it will be like one of those places that's meant to be here, or to some people will feel like it's been there forever. Brett and Hollis found the church they wanted 172 kilometres down the road in Waika, and this I've got to see. The Wanaka Presbyterian Church has seen lots in its 110 years, but it's probably never seen the sharp end of a house mover's saw, and it's also never been around the shores of Lake Waka. That's quite an adventure for an old wooden building. Helping Brett and Hollis realise their vision is going to take grunt, ingenuity, and probably quite a bit of blind faith. So here it is, Waika, with a population of 1,500 people and one too many churches. I'm meeting Hollis here to get a glimpse of their new purchase.
So here we are.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And the size of it
Yeah.
is wow. I mean, you've got your own bell tower. It's the size that hits me initially, the big arch all the way up to the spire.
We're pointing right up to Cornet Peak.
Right, and it goes all the way down. It's a large building. The church is just under 300 square metres and will be no easy feat for the movers. Is it going to move in, what, 4 parts?
Just two, actually.
2 parts?
Surprisingly, yeah.
How?
So it actually will be cut in half height-wise, just underneath the roof line.
Wait, so hang on. So that whole width,
That width.
there's nothing going down, no knife going down the middle?
No knife going down the
I mean, that's got to be 10 metres, right? So just the roof coming off and you're going to transport the whole church in one go?
That's what we're doing.
That's what you're told you can do?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Given the challenges of the relocation, it's going to cost Brett and Hollis $180,000 to move it. Wow, it just keeps going on and on.
Pretty big.
It's pretty big, but you know, knowing what it's going to be, it's the perfect space.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You can see how it makes for a good space for segmenting down into offices.
Yeah, it's symmetrical all the way down. It's perfect. At around 26 metres long and 11 metres wide, it's going to be big enough to accommodate Brett's staff. I love these diagonal tongue groove panels.
Yeah, the original wood panel walls is one of the big parts of this building for us. The second Brett and I walked in the first time, we just looked and it's like, wow.
This is in remarkably good condition.
You know, they've obviously changed things along the way, and one is bringing down this ceiling here. So we're hoping to take that false ceiling out and really expose that. So we have the nice high vaulted ceilings, as well as the floors. As you can see, they're carpeted now, but we really just want to get back to the bare materials and kind of have that play of heritage and modern. So really sleek modern lines, but with the heritage features.
And so is this like a type of false floor that we're standing on now?
Yes, it is. And we're not entirely sure what we're going to find underneath.
Okay. It's part of the mystery and part of the excitement.
Yes.
The main body of the church will house Brett's town planning company, and the large vestry will be a separate office for Hollis. All this on one truck. And so you're nervous about this travelling all that way and staying in one piece?
Very much so.
The Waikaka community may have been forced to demolish the church if Brett and Hollis hadn't turned up to save it. You know, you're recycling this beautiful 100-year-plus old building.
Exactly, saving this heritage and saving more stuff from being in a landfill. So, yeah, feels good.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to feel great, especially when you guys have got that all stripped back and you know, what a wonderful office space to come into. It is significantly larger than I was expecting, but I'm also concerned, being such a lovely old church, that it is in fact going to survive the journey and make it in one piece. Or should that be 2 pieces? And here's the reason why. The narrow road known as the Devil's Staircase on the edge of Lake Wakatipu lies ahead. The move of the church is expected to take 2 days. The roof will go first and the body of the church second. On the first part of the journey, we'll travel along mostly open country roads. But after 100 kilometres, we arrive at the Devil's Staircase, a treacherous road that lies between Lake Wakatipu and the Remarkables mountain range. From there, we'll head to Hollis and Brett's section near Arrowtown. Relocating a building through these narrow roads and possibly harsh conditions won't be easy. But that's not putting off Warren from King's Removals. He'll be the man responsible for moving the church, and he's got house moving in his blood.
My brother and I have been brought up in it. Didn't want to do anything else. Dad bought it in 1959. There's pictures of them towing buildings around on the horse and cart.
His son will be joining him on the journey to move the church.
Yeah, I'm pretty set in this business. That's what I like doing, and I can't see myself anywhere else.
We meet some lovely people, and then, you know, a lot of them become good friends.
With 2 months to go, Warren and the moving team are in Waikaka preparing Brett and Hollis's church for relocation.
I haven't done a church before, so this will be a new one for me. And I haven't lifted a roof off a building, so that'll be interesting. Learning how everything's going together, but I'm getting the hang of it.
Already the church is under attack from above and below. The base needs to be separated from the concrete and heavy artillery is required. Then there's the roof. The removal of the false ceiling is underway and the bracing begins.
We've got to put some beams through just underneath where the trusses are, brace it to the floor, and then some temporary walls in.
Owner Brett has enlisted his friend Greg to project manage the relocation, and already he's discovering there are numerous challenges ahead.
It's a very large structure to move, and the way it's being moved by cutting the roof off is then essentially just leaving these 4 walls. So then there's a lot of bracing required to make sure that it's sound and will survive the move.
Once the false ceiling is out and the body of the church is strengthened, the roof will come off. But already there's concerns about how the Gothic window might survive the move.
Because it's been built in sections, and this here, it can come apart like it's all joined through there. It won't be a 5-minute job. It's got to join there, like it can be separated.
It would have to come apart, otherwise it's got to be stacked up. We'd have to sty up the top load because that's going to be sitting down in front of the gooseneck and that could be hanging down 600 or 700.
It's just, as you say, getting a glazier in here to get all the glass out.
What we don't want to be doing is damaging the actual window because to try and get that replicated again or remade is probably going to be very difficult. We've got to basically pull out 10 panes of glass, pull the facings. We're hoping that we can get the top of the window as close to the top of the wall height. It's a bit unknown until we take the glass out, really.
Will dismantling the church for its journey mean some of its greatest features are destroyed? But it's got quite a way to go, 172 kilometres from altar to altar. So it's going to be quite a big ask. This is the Devil's Staircase. In places here, the road is so narrow that we'll have just 300 mils clearance to get the church down this road. That's about the length of a school ruler. And when we talk about the variability of the weather, yesterday going from 27 degrees to just 4 today. I mean, look, there's snow on the hills again. It's now 5 weeks to the move, and after hours of work, the church's original ceiling is making an appearance.
It's looking great, but we've only got 10% of it off so far, so we'll see what happens when the rest of it comes down.
Now that's great news. The Remu Sark and Greg was hoping for looks intact.
We won't even have to paint it looks that good.
Greg's documenting every step for Hollis and Brett, but he's not the only one interested in the church's progress.
Goodness me, look.
I can say, what a transformation.
Locals Joan and husband Jim were married in this church way back in 1956.
It'll be good that it's going to be preserved. I have made a photo album of our church, so yes, we've got good memories of it.
Back in the 70s, Jim helped to install the false ceiling that the team are removing. And as the timber hits the floor, one of the workmen makes a stunning find.
Never thought I'd be the one to open it up again after 47 years.
It's a time capsule.
It says here, do not open it up. Well, that's what I'll be doing, I suppose. Everyone that was there that day is here, and these are the ones who are there. There's quite a list there.
It even includes a newspaper from that historic day.
This is the Southland Times, Tuesday, June the 11th, 1974. It was a good exercise for the community to put that ceiling up.
It's a box full of memories for Joan and Jim as their beloved church is stripped back to its original bones. But back in Queenstown, I'm keen to know how Brett and Hollis's plans are going for the church's arrival. It looks so simple, all just drawn out here.
Yeah, it's probably a few hours gone into this, to be fair.
All right, guys, talk me through these plans.
We really started with a blank canvas because it was old horse paddocks when we first bought the property, and we're trying to get the parking area back from the church, so when you actually come to the property, there'd be a nice pausing area before you actually walk into the church, and as say the feature tree, the big cabbage tree out front. But it's really trying to bring in some of those themes with the old picket fence. Right. We won't go too conventional. We'll still try and get a few wee twists in there with the fencing and how we do the look. Trying to get a bit of an ornate English feel. It's probably the best way to describe it.
The landscaping is going to look stunning. I mean, it all makes sense on paper. It's quite easy to see here, but I guess the reality is something else entirely. And what I really like about this is that at the end of all of this, I can walk around with this piece of paper and see how true to your vision
That's right.
it has become, because
right.
you know, I don't recall seeing one of those on the property.
No, it's a work in progress.
Yeah. Greg's also turned up to review plans for the site. Greg, can I ask, have you tackled anything like this before?
No, I haven't moved too many churches.
But still, just an immensely rewarding thing to oversee and bring together.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
My background is in apartment complexes, so I'm used to building apartment complexes. This is sort of an unusual project for me.
Is it easy working with Hollis and Brett? Because Hollis is right down into the small detail. Brett has big picture stuff, and then you are sort of sitting somewhere there in the middle?
That works really well. Brett's obviously all over the planning and consenting side of it. And then Hollis has an incredible eye for detail and design. So between the two of them, it's a really great team.
Yeah, right. Brett and Hollis were hoping that the church would be on site soon so they could renovate over autumn and put it to use in the winter. But that's not looking likely now. There's quite a bit of work that happens once the church is here.
Getting it ready to leave site and then putting it back together when it gets here is sort of a few weeks to a month, and then that's when some of the real work will start as well. There's still going to be another good couple of months of work after that to actually get it ready.
Just standing here with you and looking at these plans and having seen it, it's going to be something when it's here, particularly, you know, taking in that view with those office spaces all looking out. Yeah, I'm ready for the church to arrive. But a lot of work and a torturous journey stands between now and that reality. Back at Waikaka, and with 3 weeks to go to the move, Warren's team are bracing the church. This is critical work because when the roof comes off, this is all that holds the church together. With most of the team up in the heavens, Henry, Warren's right-hand man, is having a hell of a time under the floor.
Used to be a fireplace in here. Sometimes they pour concrete over the bearers.
This has to go. Well, the church will be making its journey in 3 parts, not 2.
You can actually see that the concrete is poured over the top of the bearer running through here. If we tried to lift this building without blowing this off, we'd basically tear the floor out, we'd tear the floor off the walls.
There's surprises around every corner each time work begins.
We would never have been able to lift it out. Very hard to jackhammer in that, but I'm just on the last piece now, and yeah, and it's good to go after that.
Let's run through Hollis and Brett's challenges. They've got the weather to contend with, and the building itself requires industrial strength bracing to stop the walls from collapsing. Then, of course, the whole lot has to make it around the Devil's Staircase. This church relocation and restoration, well, it really is of biblical proportions. But today, the busy couple are in their Christchurch bar and have good reason to celebrate.
We've got all our consents issued, and everything's all been signed off in that regard. So we've got about another 2 weeks left with the church in terms of where it is on site at the moment and coming through to Queenstown. So hopefully that will pan out and stick to the time frame.
And time is something Brett and Hollis are often short of. When not overseeing their Christchurch businesses, they're always keen to get back to Queenstown to ensure progress is on schedule.
We've got all the earthworks completed, which has been a bit of a monumental task. Now we're on to landscaping. So we're probably going to be in a situation where I think we'll probably end up planting most of the plants now in spring 2021, just so we can get everything done right.
Brett and Hollis had hoped to be way ahead with their landscaping, but with Queenstown's snowy winter approaching, they'll have to wait.
Whether we go for more mature trees and try and get that building pretty established. Council's been great to work with, the contractors on the church project. Everything seems to be going well accordingly.
So far.
But there's still plenty of work to do at the church. It's time for the team to tackle one of the church's best features, the Gothic window.
Basically, this window's been built in 2 parts, so basically we'll probably have to take a bit of glass out, remove this bar here, and then when we lift it, the thought is that all this will come out with the top piece.
Well, that's the plan anyway. The window is also part of the structure, so its removal will mean that the wall needs extra bracing. The first part of the window is coming out easily enough.
The window had been built in 2 pieces, but with all the dowing and the gluing, it was quite strong. So when you separate it, and we've separated it along that top plate, the front wall's a bit floppy.
The weight of the window takes 2 men to hold it.
Well built.
They've got it safely to the ground, and they've decided to leave the rest of the window panes intact for the journey. Warren's planned for the roof to be first to leave tomorrow.
So we're going to crane the top off, put it on one trailer, and then we'll spend the rest of the day covering the roof. And then the following day, hopefully we'll get one load to Arrowtown, come back and get the next load.
Sounds simple enough to me. But there are limitations on when this load can be on the road. So, can Warren get the church there on time? It's moving day at Waikaka, and it's an early start for all of us. You know, it feels entirely appropriate to start this church move in this heavy morning fog. The church itself is going to start its journey by being broken into several parts, loaded onto these trucks, and then moved all the way through quite a precarious drive to Queenstown. And it all starts shortly with that roof coming off. But first up, the bell tower needs to be prepped for the move. The cranes are in place and the saw is out. These guys make it look easy. So what is the plan today?
Well, we're just setting up with the cranes now, so hopefully in about half an hour we'll be plucking the roof off.
Right.
If we get another pilot, or leaving here to go to Arrowtown.
Right, so the roof could go today or maybe not?
Or maybe not, yeah.
So what do you think our main issues are going to be over the next couple of days?
Traffic around the staircase.
Yeah.
You know, being 11 metres wide, we haven't got much room to play with. But in a lot of places, we're only going to have 50 mil, so it gets tight.
The move is planned to take 2 days, and already there are signs deadlines might be slipping. Can't believe the transformation that this church has already undergone. Been able to see right up into the rafters now. But you can see why this bracing is so important, because once the roof comes off, there's nothing really holding the walls up, and to have it travel that whole journey, 170 k's, it really needs to be nice and snug and secure. These custom cut iron beams will keep the roof solid, while the 110-year-old Wanaka Presbyterian Church is split into 2 pieces. Right, so these are just the last minute sort of things you need to do before you can get the building on the go.
Yeah, just final preparations now, so hopefully not long till they can get out of here.
Right. Yeah. So I think the roof is about to come off.
It is.
Okay, boys, keep rolling. I'll just keep floating it out a wee bit, Chris. Right, we'll keep rolling up the pipe.
But its journey just to make it to the truck has everyone on edge.
Keep it rolling, boys.
All right, mate, rope down.
Yeah, hold it.
Check all those blocks. Is that all going now? Yeah, good at the front.
So this is where you just want to get it as even as possible across the trailer?
Yeah, pretty much.
75 mil!
I overheard the crane drivers, 8.5 tonnes this roof's coming in.
Hold it!
About 2 inches away from touchdown.
Still got to come down back, left-hand side.
The trailer will be tilted at extreme angles to get the roof around the Devil's Staircase, so it's important that it's securely attached. So because it took a little bit longer to get that off, it means that now we're not going to make it through to Queenstown in the allocated time when you're allowed to be on the road. So we have to wait till 7 o'clock tonight. Then the roof will go through to Lumsden. But in the meantime, there's plenty to do. You can see the guys flat out on what's left of the church behind me, and they're going to drape tarps over the side to create a weatherproof effect, because these clouds, well, they keep getting darker and darker.
Hello.
Project manager Greg is here, keeping Hollis up to date by phone.
At the moment, they're putting framing up on the church to then put covers over to keep it watertight, to protect it for the next couple of days. And then you can see they've got that digger there breaking up the last bit of the concrete around the church so they can get the truck in underneath tomorrow and jack it up. And then the plan is that late tomorrow the church will be on its way.
What have we done to this beautiful building?
Now, our 170-kilometre journey begins. Right, here we go. What are we looking at? 7:30, finally on the road. So the plan now is to get through to Lumsden, and then tomorrow morning it will be up and taken through to Queenstown. We're not on the road long before we meet our main obstacle tonight, this 5-metre wide single-lane bridge. It's a good thing these moves are insurable. Otherwise, I'm not sure anyone would take this on.
The back wheels of your trailer, you need to steer the trailer over, Warren.
Warren leaves the cab to steer the trailer wheels while we crawl across. So as you can see, we've really slowed down here. We're on a narrow one-lane bridge, and the roof is actually draped across both sides of it, so it's walking pace only. The wheels are just inches from the barriers on either side of the bridge. And we're through.
Far to go now?
Oh, nearly there. It's been a long day. Health and safety regulations mean that we have to park up for the night and complete the move tomorrow. So just like that, we've arrived at our first stop. Just getting that first lump of driving out of the way. A few hours sleeping tomorrow morning in daylight, which will be fun and novel. We get to do the big drive through to Queenstown. Devil's Staircase, here we go. After a good night's sleep, the team are up early and keen to get back on the road. So here we go, you can hear the boys on comms, clearing the road ahead. We're out the way. New day, new destination. The empty Southland roads are a house mover's dream. But hanging over our heads is the rock face at the edge of Lake Waka. Next stop, Devil's Staircase. And this is where everything slows down, the Devil's Staircase.
Touching the rock.
Warren wasn't kidding when he said there was only 50 mils clearance.
I'd have to wait there until he's around the corner, fine.
One wrong move and we'll be delivering the roof to Hollis and Brett in the back of one of the utes. There is nothing in this. And this is the narrow part of the building.
The back wheels of your trailer, you need to steer the trailer over, Warren. Yeah, you got about 50 mil.
Warren turns one of the independent axles hard over to drag the whole load sideways to try and make it through. This is unbelievably close to the rock face.
See how much I got on that bloody barrier there?
You got a metre or so? That was tight. So tight.
See where it's got to get tight, don't you?
Is that the narrowest part of the trip?
Well, one of them. Then we get up the rock face up there, it's not so nice.
Right. Every time I look out my window, we seem to be closer to the lake. How we're going to get the church body, which is nearly 3 metres wider through, is beyond me.
Can you swim?
We've held the traffic up, but Warren has a solution for that too. A little tilt, and under the cars go. Finally, we're through, leaving the most treacherous part of the journey behind us. The first delivery is just metres away from its destination. Brett and Hollis are here to welcome the roof to its new home. Oh, and there's the happy couple, watching on.
Through that gateway there.
Well, we've arrived. The first part of the move is almost complete. We're just going to get onto the property now. Well, guys, how are you?
Mate, good. This is surreal.
Yeah, here comes your roof.
Yeah, there's a lot of it.
So what do you think? Hollis, I don't think I've seen you so quiet.
Probably bigger than we thought.
I mean, it's all very real at this point, isn't it?
It's pretty real. I'm just in awe.
So, what are you thinking when you're looking at this? You excited about the prospect of a building, or is it slightly daunting?
Daunting. I think it's good to see the underside a bit closer actually, because it's it looks like it might be something we can work with.
But those beams stripped back, exposed, and just having such a high state in an office space, it's going to be cool.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing actually. Be nice to see the old window reinstalled as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to leave you here and head all the way back to Waikaka and then bring back the body of your brand new building.
And you got the fun job.
The fun job to come.
Yeah, good luck with it. Don't drop it.
I'm back at Waikaka to join the move of the church to Queenstown. Is today the day?
Today's the day.
And what's the plan?
We'll load her up and then we're going to go and do a bit of trimming.
Which is Warren's way of saying we're going to take a very wide load down a very narrow couple of streets.
Yeah, that's right.
The first job of the day is to get the church in the air.
We're going to lift her up and break that concrete out so we can get her trailer under there.
With all the cutting and drilling that's been going on, we're all desperate to see if the floor has been separated from the foundations. What can happen with these old churches is that sometimes the floors aren't actually attached, and so when they lift them up, the floor drops out. So they're just making last-minute adjustments, and then it's all going to happen. You know, this moving houses game is just a constant series of problem solving. Another unforeseen issue being the sloping floor.
Come back another 50 mil.
Now it doesn't line up with the trailer, and so the boys are having to put beams across here. They're going to chock it up so that when the church comes down, it'll be able to take the weight evenly through the whole thing. But it's going to be another major delay. So I'm pleased to see Brett turn up to witness how hard everyone's working. It's a good time to show up.
Yes, all the hard work's been done.
Yeah, you couldn't help yourself.
No, just here for the finale.
Come down and have a look. What do you think now? It's all up on blocks and all the bottoms pulled away?
Oh, it's quite daunting actually, especially considering how far they're going to take it now.
Yeah, well that's the thing. I mean, I saw you flinch yesterday when the roof arrived, and obviously this portion's bigger. Yeah. And I actually watched you repacing out where you'd laid it all out. Is it as you'd imagine now, or is it starting to get a bit real?
Yeah, it is. I had a good mull over it last night actually, and it's all as proportionally what we were expecting. But I think you just it's just such a big structure in itself and quite imposing. So you know, especially when you see it up on the jacks, you definitely get a different appreciation, don't you?
Yeah. And of course, Jim and Joan have secured ringside seats for the final chapter. What do you think, Joan? Here it goes.
Well, I did think originally I would shed a tear when it goes, but I won't. And it's just been great, and I know it will be brought back to life again.
And finally, late in the afternoon, we start edging away. So here we go. This is our moment, the main body of the church coming off-site. It's been a heck of a process to get here, and it's taken a little bit longer than we anticipated. There's no going back now. You can see all the neighbours out here lining the fence, sort of seeing the church off, and for them, it would have very much been part of their whole lives, and right at this moment, it's leaving. It's a wonderful feeling to be underway. But almost straight away, we have to slow right down to lower the trailer to get under these trees and wires.
Yeah, just quietly, mate. Thank you, man. You're looking good on your right hand side. Don't have the treads in. Good line area.
Trees and road signs are a common hazard, but Warren's team are keeping us on track.
All looking good, slightly brushing some branches on the left here. Go a wee more on your right, can you want? That board fell off, knocked off again.
What board, Joe?
I'll just lay that board on the back of the trailer.
Despite the team's earlier measurements of the width of the road, there's already a few surprises.
Yep, they're on the right, where you go.
We're on the road again. But our first real test is the crossing of the Matoda Bridge. Remember, this load is 3 metres wider than the roof.
Come to the middle now, if you want.
Slightly right, bud.
See why good communication is so important, things like that, where you just can't see. We're travelling around 80 kilometres an hour, and Hollis and Brett will be praying there's no damage. Well, it must feel pretty good knowing that you're sort of, you're recycling these homes. You're not putting them into landfill.
Not everybody can afford a new home. This is a cheaper option for them.
Yep. Never lost a load?
Too lazy, we'd have to go and pick it up again.
Now for the staircase. Warren and his team managed this road well yesterday, but the body of the church provides more challenges.
You're all good. As soon as you lined up, bud. You got about a metre at the top on your right.
Metre on your right.
I'll keep it right over there. Yeah, you got about 50 mil for the guardrail.
With less than a handspan separating the church from the rocks, Henry and Warren have to work closely to keep the building safe. I mean, we're talking 30 mils, 40 mils. The beams placed on the underside of the church minimises the stress on the wooden structure, but it's hard to believe that there'll be no damage at the end of this journey. You're gonna have to just tweak those back wheels to get this load around. They're so long that when you cut corners, in they come, and then that's when you risk scraping it along the cliff face. Night has fallen fast, and there's still a way to go. We've made it through the tough part of the journey, but now there are vehicles to deal with.
You got a good couple hundred on the car.
Drivers ignoring pilot vehicles are an occupational hazard for Warren and his team.
Only about 100 mil off the rock on your right hand side, that's better, yeah?
Okay.
Can you see the rock on the right now?
Some of these corners are so tight, the pilots have to watch every millimetre of the turn.
You got about 300 on your right hand side. What's the height there, please? 150 above the tyres. Keep away from the wires, Jack.
These particular lines carry 33,000 volts, so if we take one of these out, all of Queenstown goes black.
Still got 100 on the guardrail. Okay, on the wires, mate.
There's not too far to go now. But up ahead, there are even more vehicles to contend with.
You hold lever at one, lift it up on the right. Just a wee bit more.
Not enough?
Can you lift? Wait. Lift the back a wee bit, mate. Yeah, okay, where you go, carry forward. Yeah, where you go, bud.
We've cleared the cars, but there's one tight corner to navigate before our arrival.
300 for height on your right. You get the straight of that. Yeah, you got plenty of room on your right hand side on that sign.
Finally, at midnight, we arrive at the Queenstown property, and a relieved Brett is here to welcome his new office home.
It's an impressive move. It's been a bit of a process, so yeah, quite daunting to watch it coming all this way and over the cars, and yeah, been a bit of excitement. Those guys are amazing, really. Yeah, they're real craftsmen, aren't they? In terms of what they've done tonight, it's been pretty impressive.
But while Warren and his team have got the church to sight, months of restoration await Brett and Hollis before they can finally say this job is done.
There's a lot to do. We've still got all the foundations, and they're putting the roof on tomorrow. So I'd probably say there's another 2 weeks worth of decent site works, and then we can actually start getting into the proper stuff in terms of actually getting the building back to life again.
Not many people buy a church, and even fewer people buy church as a work-from-home option. But that's the decision that Queenstown couple Brett and Hollis made when they decided that a better work-life balance was in order. That was 6 months ago, when I watched the church move here. It was a mammoth task in itself, but they tell me that they've got some results ready to show, and, well, I can't wait. I'm stoked to see Brett's grand landscaping plans are bedding in. But the church? Well, the last time I was here, it was a shell, braced with metal beams to stop it collapsing. Now, well, it looks like it's always been part of this landscape. A new roof and a top-to-toe paint job, plus a generous deck finish off the exterior renovation. G'day.
Mate, how are you?
Hey, Brett,
Good to
how
see
are
you,
you?
Clark. How you getting on?
Yeah, good to see you. On Hollis is here as well.
Hi,
Hey.
how are ya?
How are you?
Good.
Goodness me, it would appear you have other news.
Yeah. We've had a couple projects since we last saw you going on.
Yeah.
Oh, well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Just another layer of project.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I know what life's like with one, and I can't even imagine doing that and a restoration project as well. Talk me through it. I mean, are we finished?
We're about 80% there.
Has it lived up to your expectations?
Definitely exceeded my expectations. I'm just really pleased with how it's all come together.
One of the big revelations, when you're looking out one window, you see Coronet, then the other window, you see the Remarkables in the middle of winter. And that was a total accident from our behalf. We didn't think you'd get views from Remarkables out this side, but you do. Let's go have a look at it.
Yeah, I'm excited to show you.
Fantastic. And so, do you think this will be your main entrance into it?
This
or?
will be the boardroom.
Right.
So, yeah, and the whole intent for this room is to we'll get a nice big room table, and so you can kind of capitalise on the views out to Coronet.
I was going to say, how much work are you going to get done in here?
Yeah, probably not much.
No, it's a nice space. And who chose the wallpaper?
That was me.
Yes?
Yeah, so Brett tends to do the kind of bigger structural things, and I kind of do the pretty things.
And are they kakapo up there?
They are, yeah.
Hollis has done a great job mixing new and old. I love seeing the original features painstakingly restored. The bell tower, this has all come back to life.
Yeah, but the bell's all been sanded back now. And then we had the builders just configure the bell chain a lot better. Back in the day, the bell tower was exposed at the top, so you actually had a lot of water coming into the tower.
Well, with that sort of attention to detail, I can't wait to see what's through in the rest of the building.
Come through.
Wow, I mean, it was a big building before, but with that false ceiling gone and then these lovely big exposed beams, it feels massive.
Having a look and seeing all the original Remo beams has been awesome.
Goodness me, and I mean, that was all painted white, so you just stripped that all back.
Be all stripped.
The renovation reveals just how generous this space is. It truly is on a grand scale. Hollis's paint choices feel modern, but also respect the history of the church.
Massive difference from what it was.
It's incredible. You know, you could do all sorts of things in here, couldn't you?
Yeah, I think the plan now is we'll look at doing a few events and bits and pieces. Yeah, we'll still use it as an office, by all means, but the amount of inquiries we're already getting to use it for functions and things is just mind-boggling. Got a natural stage that's been created from levelling the floor, so yeah, no, it's a cool spot.
I did not see that coming. But given Hollis met Brett when he was playing in a rock band, maybe they're planning on getting the band back together. But he has touched on something that was going to be a big issue for them, the floors. You had that difficulty of the sloping floor that was hidden under a false floor and then a step down into there. If you hadn't seen it before, you would never have guessed that that floor was once upon a time sloping. And of course, the wood panelling along the side matched the sloping floor, and you've managed to straighten that all out as well.
That's right, yeah, that was a headache.
And I'm pleased to see the glorious Gothic window that was removed with such skill is now the room's central feature. I can't wait to see what's happened to the old vestry. I feel like I've walked into a totally different building.
It's a bit of a change, isn't it?
Oh, it's a total change.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you going to use this room for?
What are we barring? So, so that actually could be a good cue.
Probably a little bit different than most smoko rooms.
I'm pleased that you picked up on the term smoko. It's
Yeah.
clearly showing how long you've been here now, Hollis. That's great.
Probably for the interim, again, we'll put some more office space desks in here, but when we use it for events and functions and conferences and things, this will be probably the main activity hub.
Let's talk about budget. Did you stay within the boundaries of where you were hoping?
Oh, we made a few changes along the way, like double glazing, the heating and cooling systems, all the insulation. So we thought, do it once, do it right. So the budget's really gone. We want this building to stay here for another 100 years. So it's you've got to do it right, and that costs money.
So some of the unavoidable straight-up costs are the relocation costs?
Yeah, that was a big one. That was 180K.
And do you have a ballpark of the reno on top of that?
I don't even know. Yeah, horrific. If that's a number.
Horrific is a number, but comparable to a new build? Do you think you're still sitting under that?
No, I'd probably say it's comparable.
But what we would have gotten out of it is completely different. And to me, that's priceless, being able to have this here.
So much of what people are looking for or feeling comes through that authenticity of something these days, isn't it? And so when you walk into a place like this, you can't deny the history of the building. It's not been thrown together to look like something. It genuinely has come from that place of history.
It is, and that was something we really were very conscious to keep. We wanted to do the old girl justice.
Brett and Hollis may be reinventing the old church for the future, but for some, this building will always have a deep connection to the past. Joan and Jim were married in this church almost 70 years ago. How does it feel to see a building with so much emotional significance transplanted?
We're really delighted to see the way it looks.
I bet you guys are Pretty keen to see what they've done
Would love to see
inside.
inside.
Good.
It looks amazing.
Yeah.
There's so much more light coming in.
The inside colour is really great.
I'm so happy to hear that Joan and Jim approve of the church's new life. They've bought something special for Brett and Hollis. Here they are.
Hi.
Good to see you.
Hi, it's great to see you. It's the first time I've met you.
I know it is.
Lovely
good
to
then.
meet
Yeah.
you.
Same.
Hey, we've got a gift here for you.
Wow.
Thank you very
Oh my
much.
gosh, what is
Yes.
it?
A cousin of mine had done this painting, and it's a gift for you, and it's of
Oh,
fantastic.
wow.
yes, the church in its original.
Original red roof too.
And we've also got another gift here that it has got the history of the church. I hope you'll find somewhere in the church to install.
Absolutely.
The building. I don't know, what do you call it, a church or a building?
I think we still call it a church.
Yes, I know,
Yeah.
but I'm afraid I do too.
Definitely
Yes.
have this
Yes, yes. So
with
you're
pride.
welcome.
Thank you
you
so
very
much.
much.
Thank you.
Hollis and Brett have planned a roof shout to thank all the tradies for their hard work on this grand heritage project. Breathe out.
It's like that now, isn't it?
Yeah, almost. You're almost there. Thinking about the history that this place has been through, right? 110 years ago and being built in Waikaka, but very much as a hub of that community. Weddings, people paying their last respects, congregating. Here we are, 110 years later, and it's about to begin a whole new journey. Well, congrats and goodness me, good luck.
Thank you.
What do you have coming over the next
cheers
couple of months?
The next project.
Next project.
Brett and Hollis have achieved something truly extraordinary. They saved a much-loved building from demolition, carted it around the Devil's Staircase, and finally brought it to a place where it will be a sanctuary for at least a century to come.